smart enough to win. That's how the story starts. Learning is the edge that sets your work apart. When the stakes get high and the pressure never stops, smart learning in your pocket puts your business at the top.
Welcome to the Learning Advantage, from Insight to Impact, where we're going to show how smart learning fuels real business results. I'm Deb Laurel, and I'm your host. Welcome, and we're happy to have you all here with us. For over 40 years, Laurel and Associates Limited has worked alongside national and international managers to help them build their confidence in their own competence, to successfully manage employees and create and maintain a positive, healthy, and supportive work environment where employees want to stay and do their best. We focus on making lackluster leaders legendary. The purpose of the Learning Advantage, from Insight to Impact, is to discuss how smart learning fuels real business results. In each episode, we strive to deliver actionable strategies, evidence-based design tips, and real-world case studies that show how learning strengthens organizational health, advances sustainability, and drives profitability. And for that reason, I'm delighted to introduce our guest for today, Pamela Fritz. Welcome, Pam. How are you?
Hello. Thanks for having me today.
I'm
Excited
delighted.
to be here.
I'm delighted that you are. A little bit about Pam. She's the president of Savvy Resources, Inc., where she serves as a system mechanic for small and mid-sized business leadership. With over 16 years of HR experience at organizations ranging from Target to Curio Wellness, Pam witnessed a recurring theme: managers often lack the training to effectively lead. Amen to that. She launched Savvy Resources University to bridge this gap using her signature company, CAR methodology, communication, accountability, and recognition, to transform managers into self-sufficient leaders. Pam is on a mission to end consultant dependency and build durable internal systems that stop turnover and drive profitability. So welcome again. And we're going to jump right into the questions.
Sounds good.
When you think about learning as a competitive advantage, what does that mean in the context of your organization or your work?
Well, that's a loaded question, but I think when I look at my organization and what we're able to do, I think overall learning as a competitive advantage is showing that you're evolving and you're not falling behind. It's very easy today to feel like you're falling behind when it comes to all of the different technology that's available, whether it be AI or the new LMS that is out. But I think the competitive advantage is to just continue learning. And we can make it more unique. We can make it more fun than when it's ever been before. But I think the competitive advantage is keeping an eye on the people side of things and integrating some of that technology with it. And those three themes that you were talking about, I think of communication as really that engine of the car, accountability as the steering system that's keeping it in the right track, and then really that recognition is the fuel of that company car. So I think if we can stay with those three things that are really tied to that people first approach, that's how we're going to win this thing.
Okay. I love the analogy to the car. I think great. Can you share a specific example where a learning initiative moved from insight to real impact and how you measured that impact?
Sure. Um, I really have to think back on that one. And I started thinking about where I've really had learning impact in my career. And I would say that definitely started with my career at Target. Um, for those of you that don't know, Target, especially when I was there, I can't speak to how it is now, but from the 2006 to 2016 timeframe, they had a very heavy focus on leadership development, which for me, just getting out of school, getting out of college, and not having a ton of leadership experience, this was life changing, very empowering. 4 years into my career there, I actually started my human resources journey. And one program I began at our building was a Bob program, building our bench. And we would have who we saw as having potential, we'd start having conversations with their leaders, just to see, do you think they're the right fit? Do you think they have ability to do more? Where do you see them falling there? And if their leaders agreed, we would send them formal invitations to join this Bob program. It was very interactive. It made the associate feel very welcomed, appreciated, valued, which was key. It really helped to lower the turnover in that specific building that we were doing this in. And it truly increased the amount of internal promotions we were able to do. So we were doing things like mock interviews. We were giving them gaps assessments, which many of them had never heard of, and getting perceptions from their peers and leaders and people that maybe work with them was a bit uncomfortable for some. But they really, I would say we had about a 75% rate of people that ended up getting promoted out of that program.
Wow.
And we were having maybe monthly meetings. We weren't trying to overdo it or take away from what was happening on the floor. But it was a really powerful program and just really helped with our succession planning and truly building that bench. So I loved that. And I kind of took some of the ideas from that program as I started building out Savvy Resources University. And one thing I can say is, even while the beta testers were going through the program that I created, which is pretty much just a 26-week virtual program, I would say something that is an impact story with that program is one of the beta testers that went through within 2 months of starting the program ended up getting a promotion and a significant pay raise at work. So I more saw the program as something that's B2B, where an owner would buy it for their new enroll leaders, even maybe for themselves. But this just went to show that this was for someone that wanted to move up to a leadership role, and just focusing on some of that communication, accountability, and recognition really helped them to do more at their specific company. So those are two specific examples I have there of when that's happened.
Oh, that's great. Now, you mentioned a gap analysis. You want to tell people what you meant by that?
Yes, so I'm not even sure where I first learned, probably while I was at Target. But basically, you can do a gaps assessment where you're looking at your goals. Why is the A eluding me? But the P is perceptions, and then oftentimes you'll do your strengths. But basically, you're trying to figure out when someone's doing your gaps assessment and you're at the P, the perceptions, you could have your same level person, someone that reports to you, and someone that reports above you. I tend to get two from each. We just had my leaders at Curio do this as well, and you get them to fill out what they think are your strengths, what they see as your weaknesses, what they see as your opportunities, and what they see as your threats or your blind spots is how we did it. And then this is just feedback you can take. Sometimes the associate do not want to receive it directly. It makes some people uncomfortable. So if you offer, a third party to collect that data, it makes those answers be much more transparent and open and honest, which is the whole point of doing the assessment. So I've really enjoyed it. I've gotten really good feedback when I've had people do it. For me, it's always eye-opening, and you do always kind of tend to see some sort of theme that pokes its head out, like, hey. So I think it's a really powerful tool to do. And I think it scared them because they were associates and they were their peers. But I think it just helps you to see yourself in a different light. Maybe you're missing something.
So it's somewhat similar to a 360 feedback
Yes.
or SWOT analysis for strategic planning.
Exactly. And sorry, I remembered it's abilities. Gaps. Abilities. So yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've used it several times throughout my career, and I think it just helps to give people a little bit more information about themselves that they might not be being honest about, or that they're not aware of.
Information like that is always useful. Yeah, as long as the person's open to it.
Yeah, it can be scary.
What do you see as the biggest barrier preventing organizations from fully embracing lifelong learning, and how do you think we can overcome it?
The biggest thing I hear time and time again is, I'm too busy for that. I don't have time for the training. Like, don't you see I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off? And I think sometimes it's like, wait, if you sat down and do the training with yourself, other associates, you would probably then be removing things from your plate, which is key. So I do get it, right? When you're running a business and we all know it, the goals have increased, budget has decreased. I fully hear it. And there's days where sometimes I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to fit this in. But you do have to make it a priority, because it's not only going to help you, but it's going to help your team. It's going to help your company. It's going to help get you to your goal. But definitely the timeline thing is the thing I hear all the time as the biggest barrier when it comes to training. Like, how am I going to get the time off the floor?
So how do we overcome that?
I think you have to be strategic in some of the trainings that you're creating. And I think it needs to be shorter, sweeter trainings. I know I've had a great deal of success when I need to sit down to do trainings. If it's a little bit more condensed, if it's a bit more engaging, almost now you want to do some sort of gamifying to some extent. And I think the other thing is, how can you figure out exactly what it is that person truly needs trained on? So whatever they are doing doesn't feel like a waste of time. They're leaving feeling like it was truly value added. They got a ton from it. They're telling others about it. I've went to some trainings like that, and I have a little bit of jumbled attention span. So if I see the squirrel, I'm like, okay, let me go there. So for me, the trainings that are most engaging, include some type of role playing or learning in the moment. So you could do, mix it up a little bit, whether it's electronic, virtual, have it with some role playing, have homework assignments that they could do on the floor with their associates or virtually with their associates, however you need to. But I think now we're in a unique time where you can integrate a few different ways to get the training done, which is kind of nice. And I think it helps to bust down that barrier a bit.
That learning in the flow of work.
Absolutely.
In your view, what's one outdated belief about corporate learning that we need to let go of, and what should replace it?
I think what we need to let go of is that it is the learnings and trainings of the past, where you would get hired, for an example, and they would put you in a weird closet room in a back office with a roll-in TV and a VCR, and they'd be putting in like 3 hours worth of VHSs for you to watch. Here's your onboarding. Have a great day. Enjoy your life. That is not what we have here anymore. I know I personally invested in a platform called Absorb LMS. I've loved it. It is very gamified. It has all the bells and whistles in terms of AI, quiz taking, quiz giving ability, assignments, virtual options. There's a ton of platforms out there. That's just one that seems to work for me and my vision of the program I'm creating within my company. But you don't have to make it dull or lifeless. Like, there's so many options now with AI, with just the internet and the virtual options that we now have, where it can be much more interactive. And even if you can't be in person, it can still be fun. And especially with different generations in the workforce right now, want to see things different ways. So you might have words on a slideshow, which is fine, but maybe they include a voiceover because people are learning in different ways and getting that content in different ways. So I think it's kind of like you're trying a bunch of different ways, but still keeping it concise and to the point. Because I think, sometimes you're going to lose your audience if you're not doing that. And really, I think that's where it could get challenging for sure.
Okay, so training does not have to be boring, does not have to be old
I think we
school,
could make it fun.
can be highly participatory and focused on helping them, making it be of value. And you were mentioning also edutainment, right?
A little bit. Who doesn't like to see the little ticker go up as you're getting your trainings done? Like, oh, I'm at 80% and I have 90% score. Like, it just feels more fun, and maybe that's just me and wanting to be rewarded for the hard work I'm doing. But I think most people feel that way. They're like feeling a little bit more connected to it when they're seeing it in a more fun way.
I agree. How are you leveraging data, technology, or new learning methods to create more personalized and effective learning experiences?
Yeah, that's a tough one, right? I think I definitely am trying to listen to any client I'm speaking to, anyone that's a business owner that I'm talking to at the networking events. Excuse me, to find out really what do they want? What do they want to see? And then I think, like I said, I'm just looking at the different technologies that are available. I decided for my needs to go with Absorb, but then there's also a million different options when it comes to AI. The fight's going right now. Is it Chat GPT or is it Claude? There's just so many options to choose from that you really have to go with the one that feels of most comfort to you. I think all of this technological stuff is amazing, but nothing beats the relationship of having a conversation with a human being. Um, where I see it important is have more chat sessions with your teams, have more one-on-one connections with your teams. Hey, then take all your notes and put it into a Claude or a Chat GPT and say, tell me 3 training themes. Bink. And then in 5 seconds, you have a perfectly compiled list of what you should be going for. Like, use the tools how they are designed to be used. They shouldn't be the one having tough conversations with people. You shouldn't be able to type in Claude and say, I need to have this conversation with Johnny. And then you just show Johnny the screen. Like, that is like a no. I think we're missing the point that it needs to be a tool that helps us get to an end result in a quicker way. But it does not at all replace true human interaction.
Amen to that. If you could give one piece of advice to leaders who want to build a true culture of continuous learning, what would it be?
I think I've already said it once, but listen. Just listen. Your team is telling you every day what they need. If they're calling out 4 times in a week, they're telling you what they need. And it might just be a conversation. It might be feedback. It might be to know how the company is doing as a whole. It might be to feel more secure in their job. If you listen to the rumblings that are happening on the floor and you're engaged with the team, if you're listening to the meetings, if you're picking up on the side conversations that are happening, you're going to find out what they need. But I say listen, for sure.
Okay. What's one book, resource, or learning experience that has had a lasting impact on you personally?
I've been telling a lot of people about this lately, and I think everyone should read this book. It's called Mindset, The New Psychology of Success, and it's by an author named Carol Dweck. I believe I'm saying all this right. That was such a life-changing book for me. Both personally and professionally, I must add. I realized a lot of things that that I was feeling when I was growing up and learning life and high school and all of these things became very much so a fixed mindset for me. And it doesn't have to be. I was in a very fixed mindset about many things in life, in work, in everything. And that book opened my eyes, and now I'm just reading more than I've ever read before in my life. I'm having a different outlook on things, and things I was very closed-minded about. I'm like, no. I don't have to be like that. That's a false thing that I just had in my mind, that there were these barriers, and there's truly not. So I can't speak better about that. I think a growth mindset is so important, and we all have fixed mindsets to a certain extent on certain topics and certain things, and that's fine. Like, you're probably not ever going to be 100% growth mindset. But even in the way, like, I'm talking with my daughter and how I hope to raise my son, who's 15 months now. I think it's so important, like, to instill that growth mindset in them. You don't need to say, like, you're the smartest kid in the world. No, you did really good on that test because you worked so hard with studying and practicing. And I think it's just, it's such a good book, such a great read, and quick too.
And Carol Dweck is the originator of the growth mindset idea, or has written extensively on it if she's not the originator. Is there anything you'd like to add that I haven't asked about that you want to talk about?
I think you've pretty much gotten everything. I think I guess the only thing I would really say is, as leaders, right? We are the people that our team is talking about at the dinner table at night. Period. It's just what happens. The person that they're working with that's telling them what to do all day, every day is who they're talking about. Like, really think about what they're saying about you. And someone told me that early in my career, and it has really just stuck with me. Like, you want to be the best leader for them. And sometimes that means you have to do a lot more training. And that's okay. At least you're doing it. So yeah, that's really a key message that I think every leader should hear.
Well, that's a good one. Could also ruin one's appetite thinking about that.
Exactly. Like, what do you want them to be saying about you? Like, my boss is the best, or do you want them to be like, made my life miserable again? Like, you can really impact someone's life as a leader.
Oh, yes, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, Pam. How can people get in touch with you?
So you can come to find me on LinkedIn, Pamela Fritz, and also at my website. It's www.savvyresources.com, and my website only has one V. It's intentionally done that way because that's my daughter's name is Savannah. So we have lots of things named after her. She was our firstborn. We can't help it. But that's how you can find me.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I want to thank our listeners for listening in and participating in our conversation. I hope that you learned as much from this session as I learned today. Join us next week on March 31st as we meet with Iman Hadwe Saeed, an organizational development consultant, master trainer, and social impact practitioner from Jordan. Please remember that Laurel and Associates Limited is always focused on making lackluster leaders legendary as smart learning fuels real business results. That involves both your managers and your trainers. Please contact me for a copy of a 2-part assessment on the effectiveness of your trainers and managers. You can reach me through comments here on LinkedIn and at my website, laurelandassociates.com. Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Learning Advantage from Insight to Impact. We'll look forward to seeing you again next week.
Every lesson, every workshop, every failed attempt you save becomes a map upon the desktop, showing